happening with blogging and podcasting and using this technology. We're training the people to hopefully do what you're doing right now, and we really believe in that. So I just wanted to say that
we're at the heart and the soul and the community of why we're here. So that's why I'm here, is to tell you all about why we all love each other in 5 minutes. So, if you guys, how many folks here have never been to another Podcamp or a boot camp? Who's brand new to this? Thank you all, and welcome. We are ecstatic to have you guys here. As you may or may not know, this is the second Podcamp here in Pittsburgh. It's actually probably the 20th Podcamp in the United States. Chris Brogan and Chris Penn started Podcamp in Boston back in September of 2006. They thought they'd have maybe 40 people show up. They had about 400 people show up from all around the country, and they said, wow, this really works. So I was one of those 400 who went up to Boston. And those of us who were there enjoyed the experience so much, we decided to take it back to our home communities. So since then, there's been a Podcamp in San Francisco, in Stockholm, Sweden. Yeah, which I didn't go to that one. There's actually a pod cruise coming up later on this year out of Miami. So Podcamp is a nationwide phenomenon, an international thing. And we are.
It's not about any piece of electronics you see today. It is not about any piece of software you see today. It's not about your show. You know the old Lance Armstrong book, It's Not About the Bike? It's not about your show. It's about what you learn here that helps you establish relationships and build community around you. There's people in this room who have found a way to enter. I mean, who here thinks Pittsburgh is a media center in the universe? And yet, it is, damn it! Why? Because we now all have tools. The only cool thing about the tools is it makes it easy for most everybody. And let's discount and think for a moment about the people who maybe have economical reasons why they can't get this done. Most everybody can get to these tools now and become a publisher and a producer.
Prove that you shouldn't be a scientist. That's that fork. And did everybody read The Dip? Seth Godin's book, The Dip? If you get past the depressing part of the book, The Dip, it's a really interesting story. Because it basically says that there's a whole lot of things built into society to say that you should either go forward or not. See, I didn't know. You should either go forward or not go forward at this point. Not everybody's going to be a superstar. This is the off-ramp to that. You should go. Talking is a great thing.
Yep.
Conversing is a great thing. Communicating versus presenting is a great thing. The fact that I'm up here, let's all get up here. I was at a concert once, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, for those who want to know. And at one point, Dickie Barrett really ticked off the entire crowd. Sorry, not the crowd. The entire security team. He goes, "Hey, everybody, come on up!" And we were all on stage. I thought for sure we were all going to die because the stage is bowed. And the Boss Tones dudes, those dancers, they don't do anything but dance. Those guys, they didn't stop doing that with 300 extra people on the stage. So you're all getting elbowed and hitting the head. It's a good thing, it's nighttime.
We are the coffee house of choice for people coming to Pittsburgh who don't know where to go for coffee, because we're the ones that they hear about first. So we did a rough guess that it's between 5 to 10% of our business are people who are just passing through town that choose us. Locally, does it make that much of a difference? It may, because there's more of a wall of sound on the internet about us than there is otherwise. But we're mostly still a business.
Absolutely love them. On a very national, Adobe's everywhere, a very world-renowned company. They use blogs, and they have identified their customers that they're all about creative technology, and they want to know all kinds of stuff. Their developer blogs give me a direct link to Mike Chambers, to Mike Donovan, these guys that are developing technologies that I use on a daily basis. I'm never going to roll up to San Francisco and be like, hey, I'm just going to go to this dude's office and we're just going to have coffee. That will never, ever happen. But now I can comment directly on things that are going on. Like last night I was at a conference.
He had such a clear vision of what he wanted in his mind that communicated with staff and the people around him. And Chicago actually was one of their first places they branched out from Seattle, like Vancouver, Chicago. And Chicago exploded, and people, even in Chicago to this day, sometimes get confused. They think Starbucks is a Chicago company because it was so prevalent there so early on because of Howard Schultz's vision. Obviously, Starbucks is huge today because of that. Anyway, what does that have to do with being a producer? You have a clear vision like that. I just use that as an illustration. A clear vision is something that is very important. It's something people can get a rally behind and can come and make something happen. You lay it out very clear. That's what true leaders and true inspiring producers do.
What are we trying to do here? And a lot of times that can be really difficult because we may have many different podcasts. many different user needs, many different things that we're doing online. Do you want to keep those separate? Do you want to do this exercise separately for everything that you're doing? Or do you want to have one overall personality and brand that you're trying to bring everything under one umbrella?
Facebook member, everybody realizes the problem, but nobody realizes the problem until somebody tells them and opens their eyes to it. So I think once we get people looking at their inbox and all these Twitter requests and Facebook things and MySpace things and Podcamp emails and Chris Brogan Twitter messages, I think once we have people looking at it, then they'll see the problem and we'll say, okay, but that problem is called bacon.
I don't know if you guys got an official head count yet. Our estimated tally of folks who've come through the doors here over the past 2 days is just about 250 people, which is pretty much exactly in tune with our registration base. Once again, Podcamp gets almost 100% attendance. It might not be all the people who signed up, but other folks find out about it in the show. So last year we had 180. This year we have about 250. So we're growing by a third every year at least. This means that by this time next year we should have about 300 and something. I'm not good at people here at Podcamp, but more importantly, 300 something people who are all creating something. How many people in this room right now are not actively creating media yet? I see some hands. Keep those hands up. How many of you intend to create media when you leave? How many of you are going to walk away from this thinking it was a complete waste of time and a shame and you want your freedom? I know. I didn't mean to lose you on the way to the after party. I apologize. So, all of us are here. We got the information. We met some people. And now what do? I'm really, really, really concerned that we're going to pull a Pittsburgh manifesto and talk about all this, and then walk out the door and never again talk to each other, never again be in touch, never again try and learn from each other. And you're going to let this sit there in the back burner until next year's podcast. You go, oh yeah, I meant to do that. I should totally do that. We should totally become a diverse city and promote ourselves.